This conference will now be recorded.
Correct. Yep. Exactly. And it just, like I said, it's just a lot of times, like you see here, it's just didn't validate a street, but you may get entries in there where you realize that the street in Geo is incorrect in making an adjustment.
Morning, everyone. It's December 6th, 2022. We're at the Mitchell County Courthouse for Supervisor Board meeting. So we have an agenda in front of us. So if everyone's had a chance to look at the agenda, if there's any changes or corrections, so I need a motion on a second.
Move to approve the agenda.
Make motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
And Jim has seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item 2, approve the minutes of the November 29th meeting. We have those minutes. If there's any corrections, additions, otherwise we need a motion to.
Make a motion to approve the November 29th meeting.
Mark's made a motion to approve the minutes. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Todd has seconded. Any further discussion on this?
Roll call, Steve,
Aye.
Todd,
Aye.
Mike,
All right.
Jim,
Aye.
Mark.
Right. Item 3, county attorney general discussion. Morning, Aaron.
Morning, John.
Good morning.
Good morning. Got several things on, so I don't have a lot today. Just I got various things I'm working on. I think most of you know what that is, and I'm working through them. About it, should be around all week. Got juvenile court day on Thursday. That'll probably take most of the day, maybe not all my time, but in between him and I, it'll take all day. I got to call in for jury duty tonight. There's not a criminal trial tomorrow, so I don't know. But anyway, I got to call in to see if I got to serve jury duty. So if there, I don't suppose there's probably a trial tomorrow. That's a civil trial. It's not a criminal trial. So I guess if for some reason I had to serve jury duty, that'll take me out a little bit. I'd kind of like that if it's true. You know, I'd like to be on a jury. I never have been. But anyway, that's about it. If you have any questions, that's fine. Otherwise, I know you kind of got, looks like a full agenda. So.
Does anybody have any questions for Aaron?
No, none.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Aaron.
Good morning.
Item 4, sheriff update.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Not a whole lot. Halfway through the year, our budget's in pretty good shape over there, despite some of the things we've had so far this year. Again, we'll start probably some depositions and trial prep after the first of the year. So you'll see some overtime coming for that stuff. You'll see a bill for $800 and almost $900 getting a car back from the lab in Ankeny that was evidence in a criminal case. So that's what that is when you look at that from Osage towing. If you wonder what $860 is coming from Ankeny to Osage to tow a vehicle, is involved in one of our criminal cases. So nothing we can do about that. Just you have to pay the bill, and that's how that stuff has to be handled. So other than that, I guess I don't have anything. I have a call into the construction guys. We have plenty of phone tags, so I don't know if they're going to start doing some interior work where we need to move some inmates. But I'm waiting to hear back from one of the gentlemen on that. So that seems to be going pretty smooth over there. We haven't had any inconvenience from those guys working, so that's been good up to this point.
Do you have Randy's number or one of the foreman's number?
I think it's Randy.
Okay.
Yep. Right. Yep. He's called me. I've called him. Now we're just waiting to call each other back.
Very good.
So.
Do you have room to move inmates as needed?
Yeah, we do. Yep. Okay. Yep. So unless you have questions for me or anyone here does, I'll take those. Otherwise, that's all I have for you.
Did you ever send that bill to Missouri or wherever?
Mhm.
Did you have any feedback at all on it, or
They said no.
done deal then?
Yeah,
Okay.
and I don't know if Aaron wants to do anything with it. I don't know how we force their hand. But yeah, they said you send it to DOC doesn't pay them, send them to the transport company. So we've done that. Transport company says, no, we don't pay those things. So what do?
We tried,
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah, we run into that a lot. Out of state holds, wait in extradition, they have medical issues. We rack up $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 in bills, and then we're just stuck with them.
But when the shoe's on the other foot, do we pay them then? Or no?
Well, I don't know if I will.
No, I know.
But
So,
I haven't ran into that
You haven't run
much,
into
so
that,
honestly, you know, I don't know.
maybe with Minnesota being so close, or,
Yeah, the right thing to do is probably, you know,
would be, yeah.
yeah.
I just wondered.
I would imagine their attorney down there says, well, you don't have any liability to actually pay this, so.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's the most counterintuitive, absolutely, the most counterintuitive, difficult thing to wrap your mind around, in my opinion. And I've dealt with this for 25 years, right? I mean, somebody out of state, there's a warrant for somebody out of state. So Iowa law enforcement does their duty, what they're supposed to do, picks up that person, holding them for Missouri, Florida, Texas, whoever it is. And in the meantime, if this person has some kind of medical issues, real or not, which, you know, every once you get somebody that just decides, hey, I'm gonna go to the ER for a while, I'm tired of being in here. That sounds mean, but that happens. And then the county who's got custody has to pay. My understanding is, I've talked to Mark Walk about this over the years, through and through, and thought somebody ought to do something about it. He just kind of snickers and says, oh, yeah, somebody should, so call your legislator. It's extremely counterintuitive. If somebody knows something I don't, I'm willing to listen, because I'd like to find a way to change things if we could. Anyway, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. I just, to stay in good graces with the hospital, we're gonna pay the bill.
Well, yeah.
Because it's not on them, it's between me and
Right.
Missouri, but they call us and say, this guy's hanging out in your community, he's a bad guy, you need to get him arrested, and then they stick us with $7,000. So whatever, price of doing business, I guess, kind of frustrating, but that's where we're at with that.
Okay.
Another time, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
All right.
okay.
Okay, thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Item 5, department head discussion.
I got one thing, I'm gonna be gone on Friday, so I'll be sending the agenda on Thursday,
Thursday.
if anyone needs anything added.
Okay.
We've got a couple things. NICOG contacted me in regards to, NICOG's now gonna be managing the State Housing Trust Fund because Homeward went away. So they're gonna be managing that. They need an individual from Mitchell County to represent and be on that board. They had recommendations as far as different qualifications they were looking for. So I talked with Trevor Olson, he's the banker up at First Citizens. He matches that perfectly. He agreed to do that. I sent that to NICOG, so he will be on that board to do that.
Okay.
And then the other thing, I got a hold of the contractor that's, the generator for the public health building has been kind of in a delay process for a while. Got a hold of the contractor that we agreed to go through for the ARPA money to do that. The reason it's been a delay is when we started that process, we didn't have a building to store anything. So when he priced the generator, the transfer switch was not in. Then he priced the transfer switch and the generator wasn't in. So he just kept going back and forth. I think he finally got kind of tired of chasing the dog for that. So now we have a building and I asked him to get the price, if the price has changed since we started that process. He's gonna get back with me, so possibly we'll get that stuff. I told him I'm not really too worried about the labor right at the moment. I just would like to get the materials, get the generator and the transfer switch, so.
Should
And then we'll just stick it in the building until he has time to do it.
Is it a big ticket item? Do we have more than one bid on it?
When we did this process, I don't think that there was more than one bid. This is the ARPA application that we filled out at that time.
Is this you're talking about a generator?
Yeah.
So that generator was supposed to be for our building?
Yeah.
The public health building?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Not the maintenance shed?
Correct, but we'll
Okay.
use the maintenance shed to store it.
Oh, I see. Okay, gotcha.
But they didn't order it that time? I thought you ordered that generator.
That was the little generator for the little trailer. There's a generator for the building that we approved.
And that wasn't ordered?
Wasn't available.
It was, I mean, Jim did order it.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it wasn't available. He has a contractor that's lined up to do it, but he wanted to get, like I said, there wasn't a building to store it at first, so he didn't want to have one item and not the other item, so he was trying to get both items at the same time so he could do the work. Where now we have a building, so if one comes in, we'll store it, if the other one comes in, we'll store that. But but I wanna know the price too. I don't wanna have a giant inflation increase.
A lot of
I'm
pricing.
sure that it has.
I'm sure it's inflated.
And also, that's why I told him I'd like to get it so that it's not another 6 months or year down the road and then the things way out of line. So anyway, that's an update on that.
Okay.
Any more questions about it, or
But it's still on go.
as long as we want it to go, yes, it is.
Okay, he's coming up with a dollar amount, and then we'll proceed. Yep.
Okay. Was it Jim Roll?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, yeah, he's good contractor.
Yep.
Work with, yep. Okay, any other department head discussion? Okay. Hearing none, I guess. County engineer update, Rich?
Morning.
Morning.
Got a list for you this morning.
Yeah.
First is the federal aid agreement for our STP project, which is paving Balsam from Highway 9 to 105. You printed that out, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's just agreeing that with the DOT that for the money, we're using 1.5 million in STP funds to help fund that project. The rest will be farm to market funds. Initially, the project was estimated at 2.1 million, with 1.5 being federal aid and 600,000 from farm to market. But since the inception, or since we submitted the project in programming, asphalt prices, everything's gone up 20-25%. So naturally, the new estimated cost of the project's gone up a little bit more too. It went from 2.1 to 3.2, which is a little bit more than 20 or 25%. But those are estimates. We don't know until it gets let. So we'll be using more of our farm to market money to compensate with the 1.5 to do that. But the agreement is just something we need to have put in there to say that we are allowing the DOT, we're using that money. The DOT is going to distribute that money. And just our standard agreement to use that service transportation block grant money for that project.
Basically, we're still proceeding.
Yes. Yep.
And
Project.
we can hope that with the price of crude maybe coming down now, that
Maybe we'll see a lower price, but again, the estimates are just based on past letting amounts and some of our own experience and what we're seeing for local prices, but it's a crapshoot until they bid it.
Are you using Standard Oil on that, or are you using high performance?
We're using standard.
Okay.
Because it's going to be a 4-inch cold in place recycle using the not the foamed asphalt, but the regular, and then we're doing a 3-inch asphalt overlay with standard.
Okay, 3 inches. They put 3 inches on at one time, or
They'll do it in lifts.
2 lifts?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess the last blacktop, the Kirkwood one turned out to be a lot less than what we thought.
Oh, yeah, the cost, yeah.
So maybe this will too, you know?
Yeah, it just depends on
Keep our fingers
what the
crossed.
market's doing. I do have a copy too, so I'll just have him, if they agree to it.
All right, well,
I move to approve the federal aid agreement.
okay, I'll second that. Any further discussion on this?
Roll call, Mike,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Todd,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Mark.
Aye. Auditor has to sign up too. Thank you.
Next, I want to final out the Hickory Avenue project, so I submitted, I guess I didn't give it to you guys specifically, but there's a notification of project of completion. And it's addressed to you guys, the construction contractor's completed construction of the project improvements. That total cost is listed. The improvements were constructed in substantial compliance with the contract documents and authorized extra work. And I recommend that we pay the contractor. Final project cost is $931,601.22. That's more than our estimated cost, but we did add extra length on the end of the project, and we also did add extra thickness on that stretch north of the railroad tracks. In addition, we also had some subgrade repairs that we needed to take care of. So the costs were a little bit higher. The final pay request, which will include the retainage, This final pay will be $28,061.53 to the contractor. And then I gave you the total of the project altogether. So if we could get approval, if you guys want to approve that, we can go ahead and get that project closed out.
What was the amount again, Rick? 931 what?
$931,601.22.
Okay, so we're looking for,
Approve the final payment, Rick.
Mark's made a motion to approve. Do we have a second? Todd has seconded. Any further discussion on this?
Roll call, Mark.
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Todd.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
There's just a little signature block.
Right down here.
Thank you. I'll work on the other 3 projects, see if they close out.
Okay.
So, I know, Jim, you've got this adopt a highway policy, but I'd like to also mention, I just got an email this morning and should have gotten the email November 30th that this raised grant, these bridges, there's some bridge money in that whole new highway bill, and every county submitted several bridges to see if we could qualify. I got an email early this morning, which I think they wanted to send out, and I got missed on the link, but Mitchell County did, we made this, what do you want to call it? We're one of the finalists to be selected for a bridge.
Okay.
And so now I've got a lot of work to do before Friday to see if we can get it in. The bridge that, we had submitted several, the one that the committee had thought was best suited for the funding was one south of McIntyre, right north of 430th. It's narrow. The bearings and the plates, everything are rusted up. Everything's locked up on that bridge. I think we submitted for a new bridge. So I've got to get some updated estimates done and submitted if we want to participate in this grant. Well, okay. So also we have to commit, and I think you guys will agree, I didn't get this put on the agenda because I just got it this morning, but we need to have this by Friday.
Okay.
They want us to also commit to up to $20,000 in funding to prepare the grant to submit to the feds, which I think is a good idea. It's worth every penny to get 80% of 1.7 million for us.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely something we're going to do. So I'm going to
Yep.
get the paperwork, but we still have to provide 80% of the new bridge cost, but that sure beats 100%. So I'm going to submit what I can before Friday, get everything submitted before Friday so we can maybe get some more money for another bridge.
If we submit the 20 grand, do we
It-
guarantee to get the grant, or do we get reimbursed if we don't get the grant?
I don't think I'm trying to remember if all the counties, whether they made whether they qualified or not, or I think we've got a good chance of getting it, but there's no reimbursement. This is the cost to get the grant written. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. But I think our bridge is that good that if this program comes around again, we qualify again.
Okay.
All right, so that wasn't a question I asked. It was, are you willing to up to? Now, we're not saying that's going to be that much.
Well, it
but-
might not be that much.
Right.
Well, who does the grant writing?
I'm trying to remember. I think the Iowa County Engineers Association hires somebody to write the grant. But we've done grants before. We've gotten a lot of money from the feds before. So we've got some good grant writers that we use. So,
Okay.
but I just wanted to inform you that's where we're headed on that. So we could, and we have to commit that the bridge can be let before September 2027. I think that's more than doable.
Yeah, yep.
So,
I think that's a good lottery ticket to buy.
well, and I got some pictures if you want to look at the deterioration of the bridge, maybe. There's
I
some
know the
structural
bridge,
issues.
so Jim and I know the bridge, so.
You know,
We
so
don't need to-
anyway, in the bridge report, it was consider repairs to joints, back walls, bearings, beam ends, and other deteriorated areas of the beams, and also consider replacement. So the bridge is built in 1940. It's served its life. It's narrow. It'd be nice to widen, it'd be great to widen it up too and get a little bit more elbow room when trucks meet on that. It is a highly traveled route, so.
Sounds like a good plan.
Okay, and then I think we can be, one other thing, we've been using our front scarifiers and our motor graders for quite a while, and we built all of our front scarifiers in-house to save some money. We had the carbide round bits that are kind of curved on the mold boards. We took them off the mold boards because we thought they were not working for us. Then we decided to use these front scarifiers. Well, now that we've been using them for a while, we're finding that to properly use them, the round ones that are curved tend to dig in and shake the machine up, but they make a different set. We have one set, or we have two machines running these straight vertical square edge bits, and the mechanic and the foreman have been doing research on how to get some at a good price for us, and I think it's something we might consider so that we can use them more effectively than what we have now. Those scarifiers do a great job for us when we're trying to straighten out gravel roads and potholes. And with the round bits, like I said, they're pitched a little bit, and they're more useful on a mold board where you can adjust the pitch of the mold board versus these front scarifiers run straight up and down. So we need a bit that complements that vertical face, and they're coming with a square bit. And so we're looking at possibly, I've made the decision yet, but possibly roughly about $5,300 per machine to upgrade to the new, and that's getting a substantial discount on the plates themselves where the bits mount. But we're not out any money with the other ones that we've had. We've had them for years. We can always put them back on the mold boards, or we could sell them. I don't know if anybody's looking to buy them, but we haven't made a decision yet. But I'm just giving you some information. Say if you see a big bill come through for some scarifiers, that's what we're doing. We're trying to make these things easier. A lot of guys don't like using them because when they start digging with the curvature, they like to dig in and then the machine bounces, where if you're scraping with a carbide bit, you get a better cut. So we're looking at trying to make them a little bit better so we can use them more than what they have, because it just shakes the machines too much, trying to save some wear and tear. And with that, when they're curved like that, they start wearing out the sockets the bits sit in. So that's all I've got for you on the maintenance side. We can go to the.
You want to talk about it, or you want me to talk about it?
You can go ahead and talk about it.
Well, I mean, it's a Worth County, you guys have it in front of you, I think. It's a Worth County plan. I just changed it to say Mitchell County and all of it. And it has to do with the request that Valent wanted for them to be able to adopt a section of road by their place and clean up the ditches. And so it's, that's it. It's a wordy document to just give them permission to do it.
Then other people can do this too. Also.
Yeah.
Because I've had.
I think what we'll do is when we get
Somebody
it
else
approved,
has
we
to.
can put it on the website and people will see that, and then they can let us know and apply for it.
Then when they apply for it and they're gonna do it, then we put up the signs, correct, that they've adopted.
Well, they had,
Yeah.
secondary roads always put signs up in the right of way because of liability, so that it's done correctly. And a lot of times we had charged for that service to do that. I'm talking with Valent, I don't know if they really were worried about the signs in the right of way. I think they wanted a private sign on, behind their fence line, I'll just call it a fence line,
Well, saying
to tell about it.
it's advertising.
Whatever, if they want it in the right of way, these guys put it up. Has to be ABCD signs so that it meets.
Is there any legal liability for us to have a sign up stating they're on the county right away?
These signs will be like the state uses in the right of way. There'll be those signs.
I think, Jim, you were referring to, they wanted to put like a private sign up.
Well, they indicated that it would be on their property though if they did that.
Just curious, you're gonna have signs up then for our legal liability? there?
Our goal is to probably just do what, if I'm not speaking correctly,
No,
but I think it's to set it up the same way as the state does, where they put a sign in the right of way saying,
Yep.
this is an adopt a highway, this is the group that's maintaining
Yep.
this. Then it's done, if it's on their private property, then nobody sees it.
Right.
But if you put it out there, it also makes people aware that somebody might be out there picking up trash or whatever else. And then in this document, we'll provide vests that they return to us. We'll provide the vests, the bags, we'll pick up the garbage.
Okay.
My guess is it's such a short stretch, there won't be a whole lot to take care of. And if they end up doing anything else in the right of way.
I've had somebody else ask me about it too. It's actually a Mennonite construction that
Sure.
wanted to adopt some miles.
We'll take anybody that wants to adopt them.
The original document said 2 miles, both
2
sides
miles?
of the road, meaning mile up, mile back, and so then I just modified this to just say, exceptions to distance shall be considered by the Mitchell County Board of Supervisors, so, because I know Valen didn't want to do, the stretch, they didn't want to do the whole mile, both sides. I think they more or less were concerned. I'm just guessing they're gonna want to do from the cemetery to, Pops intersection. That's a guess on my part, but.
Similar to what we did in Worth County where the manufacturer wanted to do it. They only did a half a mile, and I don't know if it was a half a mile, maybe a quarter of a third mile up and then back. They do it as part of their wellness program. So it was always good for them. They could get some wellness credits and things like that. So similar to that aspect, yeah, the DOT says they use a mile up and a mile back, but I guess we can make our own policy and suit whatever we need to.
I think this guy maybe wanted to just, kind of like an advertising thing, you know, I suppose, you know, you got your name on the sign and you're doing a good deed, you know?
I think I have everything changed to Mitchell County for some reason. If
Yeah,
we don't, we'll have to do that, but I think I got all of it.
I'll move to make a motion that we adopt the Mitchell County, adopt a highway program.
Okay, Todd's made a motion to adopt the highway policy program. I guess I will second that. Is there any further discussion on this?
Roll call, Todd,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Aye.
Jim.
So I'll follow up with, Ballant, Brandon Lynch. I think he wants to come talk with us also in regards, just give us an update on stuff, but I wanted to get this taken care of first.
Yep.
So I'll let him know that we approved that and he'll probably come visit us.
I'll talk to the other party too, see if they're still interested in doing it and where they, okay.
I think it says on here, Mike, January 1. or-
January 1.
I'm not sure if that's on there. I know that's what Ballant wanted. I don't think that says that on.
For what?
As far as the date, this specify date start date, does it?
No, well,
I don't remember that.
not to apply for the highway
I
thing.
don't remember that. That's what Ballant was wanting, so, but it's not on that document. Okay.
So once this is in place, people can apply anytime, really,
I think
right?
so,
From this day on.
January would be snow in the ditch, so it really wouldn't do much.
But it'll carry over a year. It'll be a year from now.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Did we do 2 years
Did
though?
we
I
do
think?
two?
I don't remember what it was all.
Yeah, and then
Just well.
Lord knows
2
we'll
years.
probably forget to even
Yeah.
renew them as they go.
2 years, 2 years minimum, it says.
Okay, yep. So anyway, they wanted to start on January 1st. Other people can start whenever they want.
Like, the spring is a good time when the weeds are all down and you can see everything. Yep, okay. Sounds good.
Call T38 south of town. It's in Floyd County, that stretch that's so rough.
Mhm.
Do you know why they never finished that? Or
I do not know.
that
mean-
guy last week come sideways in front of another truck and he was wondering why just before that, Leroy Jones's place.
I think I inquired once with the past engineer and it was a funding issue. I can't answer for Floyd County why they didn't do it. It's kind of their
We're good
wheelhouse.
up to there and then it's a stretch and then on top of the
Yeah, it's
hill.
maybe not even a quarter mile or something.
It is kind of odd.
I didn't know if they were gonna redo that bridge one time and then, but do you think they come up to the bridge with their,
Yeah.
paved it south to the avenue?
I can't answer for Floyd County, but I do know it's,
I talked to a Floyd County supervisor on a committee with her, and she was gonna look into that, because they were afraid with that Floyd interchange, that was gonna become very busy, which it has, and I've never really heard anything back from her.
I have a different opinion, but I'm gonna keep that to myself. I'm not a Floyd County employee or the engineer there. so-
That has been a question that's been asked since I've been on the board for 4 3/4 years, so.
But yeah, it's not fun to drive it when you're driving down a nice road and then you hit that.
Yeah.
It's been an issue, you know. Maybe with a full new board of supervisors and Floyd coming on, they'll do something. I don't know.
I've heard a lot of comments too, people coming to work from Osage, coming that way, they're on Floyd, the road is on snow.
Mhm.
Get to Mitchell County and it's clear, you know, but I guess they don't get up as early as you guys do.
That or just how the routes are, where their shops are and,
I've heard that complained a lot, but over the years, but.
Times it pays to wake up.
Yeah.
That's all I had.
All right, appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Item 7, Board of Health update.
Morning.
Good morning. I've come to share our vetting practice that we've adopted as a policy for new board members. And it was brought to this board a while ago. I have a copy of that and the guidance that we received from, I've got one for you, Jim, from the Iowa Code in vetting our individuals for our board.
That's yours, I've got it here.
Okay. What I'd like to do is share why we feel it's very important that our board members who have chosen to remain on have that opportunity, and we'd like to honor that request. We've been through a lot of changes in the last 4 years through public health, and we've had change in administration, we've had change in staff. We've been through a pandemic, and the last one was 100 years ago, so all new information and whatnot to deal with. During that time, the agency and board members worked together, and these two women, Sandy Offen and Brenda Miller, are up for re-election for our board. They volunteered hours and spent a great deal of time helping get through the pandemic and for our services. That in itself is devotion to the board and the agency's agenda. Not only that, it also saved us a great deal of funding because we would have had to have paid extra staff or paid overtime. So there are many things involved with that. When you're working and volunteering that way, you get to see the agency in a different manner. You get to know the employees differently, and you experience the intricacies of what goes on a day-to-day. We feel that they have been devoted to this. They've given a great deal of time. Not that there aren't other people that would be qualified. That's not the point. The point is, we've been through a difficult time. We are now in a very good place with our agency and our board, and we would like to keep things moving in a forward direction because there are a lot of things to learn about being on that board and a lot of things to understand. We feel that they are very understanding of all of that, and we would like them to remain because we find that that is in our best interest at this time. I'm in question of if there is concern about our agency. Do you have concerns that we've done something wrong, unscrupulous, reprehensible? Is there a concern from your board with our board?
I have nothing.
I have nothing.
I have no questions.
Okay.
Not at this time.
So my concern is when we brought this policy to this board and we adopted it a few months ago, there was a comment from this board about that policy, some concerns perhaps that there would be a lack of power over our board. And I'd like to understand that comment better. Being an autonomous board, yes, your board has the last say in our budgeting and so on, but I'd like to understand that better to be sure that we are following through and doing what is expected of our agency and our board. Could you answer that for me, please?
I have a comment, but I didn't make that comment, so I can't answer to that comment specifically, but I have thoughts,
Okay.
so.
Are-
And
I guess I didn't make the comment. I don't know. I guess I'm not sure what.
So I guess my thoughts in regards to that are, I think it's very good that people apply for the boards that are, for the autonomous boards. It's difficult to get people to serve, and it's a very good thing when people want to serve on those boards. But and I will always look at the people that are sitting on the board because they have the experience that's there. That being said, for this board to plant people on boards, I'm not saying that's happening, but it's happened twice in the past that we've not let somebody re-up for a term. It's happened 2 times already. What that does is sends a signal to board members, and it sends a signal to the public that if you think the way the Board of Supervisors wants you to think, you can be on a board. And it also sends a signal to the people that are on boards that I need to adapt to what the Board of Supervisors want me to think in order to stay on this board. And I think that's a very bad practice.
I agree, Jim. I would have to say, when there isn't good communication and transparency, there's suspicion of motive, as you had just pointed out. That is concerning, and that's why I'm here to ask. We have people who want to continue to carry on. Just as we as constituents that are taxpayers in this county assume that you as a board are communicating together, you're transparent, that you're working together, you're doing research, and that you are working to enhance our county in the betterment of it, not to tear it down, not to make changes without communicating that and being transparent. That's where we're coming from. And I appreciate you pointing that out, Jim. That is a concern.
Okay.
I just want to share a couple pieces of data here. Through the whole COVID, we did the Test Iowa. The Mitchell County Public Health and Home Health brought in $200,000 in an 8-month period by taking that on. We had people coming from all over Iowa, Minnesota, Nebraska, all over to be tested for that. We were one of the only places that had it well organized, and people certainly appreciated that service. We also gave thousands of vaccines. We had people coming from many other counties nearby to receive their vaccines and to have been tested during our Test Iowa because we were organized and we had a better system set up. That COVID administration brought in over $100,000. That in itself brings that money back to our agency so your board doesn't have to find more funding for us to continue to do the services that we do and provide in this county. And sometimes I'm uncertain if you understand that and how we truly work. My request for you is to please consider that we honor the 2 individuals that have requested to remain on because they have a working knowledge that you can't just step into and understand how the agency works. Also, I would like to ask you to please continue to be, or to begin to be, more communicative and transparent with your policies. As we put ourselves on the board, we see later when the agenda came out that there was a bullet to appoint someone. At what point was our board going to have that communicated to them? We have a representative from your board on our board who made a second to the motion to accept the 2 women to remain on our board. It's confusing when we have this okayed, it's in our minutes, it's gone through, and then something else changes on your board. I would like to understand that better.
Okay, well, the term is up at the end of the December. So it has to be done in a December meeting. That's why it's on the agenda for today. Because this is December and the 2 terms are up at the end of the year.
The
so
2 terms are up, but the individuals agreed to remain on.
It still needs to come through here to get approval.
It's
not automatic.
It does, and I agree.
Yeah, so
However,
that's why it's on the agenda for today because of that.
Okay, so you have it on the agenda to approve that we've approved them? Is that where
It's
you're
on the
coming
agenda
from?
for 2 members to be appointed to the Board of Health, like it says. Appoint public health board members, because there's 2 terms that are up.
and those individuals have agreed to stay on. And we're
And
asking.
I understand there was 2 people that came forth that months ago that wanted to be on the board.
And were you going to?
A year ago? Okay.
And when were you going to share that with us or communicate that? It's nice to know that as a
Well, you
board
get
so
the
we can
agenda, don't
continue.
ya? I mean, I didn't know it was on there till last Friday, so. And when did you call me? You called me the same day.
Mhm.
So you knew when I knew.
Okay.
Do we have, to county attorney, do we have an obligation to tell them that?
Okay.
I mean, I knew the same day you knew, so. And you
Here's-
called me. So,
From a legal perspective, here's the deal. And like you said, people can agree or disagree with me, doesn't really make a difference to me. From a legal perspective, yes, the boards that are being renewed, they have to be reappointed, whether it's somebody new or it's the same person, it has to go through the process again. And putting it on the agenda, you put it on the agenda like you do any other meeting, you post notice prior to 24 hours, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you follow that process, you're good. Now, I understand, I think, what Jolene is saying is it might have been nice if I'd had a little more notice. And, that's reasonable. I can understand where she's coming from there. But from a legal perspective, no, you don't have, you put it on the agenda and if people are interested, they will. That's the legal answer.
Okay, I have some questions then, in regards to that. Legal is legal, polite is polite, and I'll just speak as a board supervisor member. It says appoint members to the public health board, however that's read, I don't have it up here. So I have no idea who those people are. And we're gonna just throw some names out without, I have no idea who we're even talking about. The reason I have this vetting, it's called Mitchell County Board of Health Candidate Vetting Tool. It was sent to every one of us. We all received it. It's not something that she sent to me for this meeting. I received this months ago from Laura. That's why I said I didn't need that document here. And I brought it up because I knew this discussion was gonna come up. The 2 candidates that are on the Board of Health now, has this been completed for them?
Yes, it has,
That's what
and
she
that's
had.
what I handed out.
Okay, you handed the ones that were completed. I'm sorry, I thought you handed me the blank forms. I wasn't aware of that. Okay, so it's been completed for that. The candidates that, you said there's 2 candidates that talked earlier, has it been completed for them? Or is it just gonna be a name that's popped out that I'm supposed to instantly decide, oh yeah, that sounds good, I know that person? No, I want something so that I can review it rather than a 30-second decision process. That's the polite side of this.
well, maybe we should table this till that's done then.
Sounds good to me.
That's the, I don't know.
So
I'm not against other
You can-
candidates
You can
doing
table
this.
it, but on the other hand, the 2 names that are going to be coming up,
Well, it doesn't matter if I know them or not. I need something to go by so I can compare them. There might be people applying for a job. You don't just say, yeah, I know them, I think I'll hire them. That's not how it works. They handed us a good document that we could use, and that's what I want to use.
Where do you get these applications?
it was in your packet a month or 2
Laura.
ago. Laura sent them out to you. So it's also in compliance with the guidance of the Iowa Code. Because we are a public health agency, we have parts of the code where we need to follow their guidance. And this is in that guidance to follow this for vetting individuals for our board.
It's a guidance, but not required.
but it's not the law.
It's just a guidance, is what it is.
It's a recommendation.
It's a recommendation.
Mhm.
So have these been used in the past?
We have used a different process. We've been redoing our policies and procedures, and we've adopted this. That's why it was brought to this board a couple of months ago.
So you never used this until this time?
Not this particular one, no.
If I could say something. It came up because Laura was at a meeting with other public health boards, and they were saying that they were having trouble getting candidates that were actually had qualifications and not just interested in being on a board. And so that's when Laura made the tool, brought it to you guys, so that to make sure that there were qualified people.
So when you got on the board, did you have to fill one of these out?
I did not.
Did not?
Mark, the individual doesn't fill them out, the board who's asking them to, or appointing them, fills it out. The agency looks at that, and/or supervisor or whoever is appointing them fills that out, or requesting that information from them.
So is this done before the fact or after the fact then?
It has to be done previous to appointment on the board to
But-
see that they meet the qualifications.
But this board could approve anybody with or without the knowledge that you're requesting.
I believe when it's adopted as our policy, it would be best practice if you follow that vetting practice
But
of
this,
that individual, and bottom line, you do have the last say.
this board doesn't follow or have to follow what you perceive as having the ability to do.
The qualifications are Iowa code, you have to follow Iowa code.
But this board can pick whoever they want.
It has to fall under Iowa
But you're
code in
right,
chapter
you would
71.
want and you would expect them to pick people that would have that ability and knowledge to be part of this board. So what you're saying is that this board doesn't have the intelligence to pick anybody to go on that board, your board.
No, Steve, what I'm saying is we would like to follow the recommendations of the Iowa code and to follow that so that we have qualified individuals who understand the workings of a medical agency.
Which I think we as a board would have that ability and the intelligence to do that without having this.
We are following the recommendations of the Iowa code. Just as you have to follow Iowa code for many of the decisions you make about using taxpayer dollars, we are following those recommendations of the Iowa code.
I found somebody for the planning and zoning thing. There's no application process for that because Amanda has not said that she wants to go through that process. I'm good with that. I found somebody, we talked about it last week, that I would go look for somebody. No application for that. I'm good with that. This board would like to do this process because they think this is gonna find them qualified individuals. And I'm not saying any of the people that we're talking about today are not quality people and they're probably all qualified. That's not my point. My point is that we can have a level of professionalism in this room. If this board wants to use this as a process, I think we should adopt it. I want to adopt it because they think it's best for their department. That's where I'm at. It has nothing to do with legal. It has nothing to do with, we have the power to do this. What it has to do with is that they want it to make their department better. And I'm all for making this county better in any way we can do it.
Yep.
So I want to see applications when we do that, if that's what they want.
Okay. So I would say item 10 on here, we'll just table it till next week and we'll have applications then to do it the proper way they want it done.
If that's what everybody wants.
Sure, I'll second that.
Okay. So I mean, that's item 10. We ain't do that yet. So we're still on Board of Health update. So,
Okay, thank you.
so you done?
But I
Or
have
did you
one
wanna
comment.
Share? Pardon?
I have one comment. Just because you may choose two better than two others, doesn't mean that this board doesn't have the ability or the right to pick the opposite.
We understand that completely. We understand that.
And you are right, it is a power struggle, but it isn't necessarily all sitting up here.
I'd like to understand that statement
I
better.
think you understood it just the way I said it.
No, I'd like to understand it too.
I believe there is a power struggle on that side of the room against this board.
Through the public health home health agency?
I said it, I said enough, and that's, I'm leaving it at that.
Do you feel public health is not taking care of the citizens of this county properly?
I didn't say that.
Okay.
If there are concerns from your board that our board needs to address, we would clearly like to have that communication and understanding so we can work better. If there's a chance of power struggles, that only causes negative things to happen. We are asking transparency and communication so we can work together in this county for the good of all involved. And that's our concern, and we are open to discussion. If you would like to visit with us about anything, please let us know. We are here for the constituents of Mitchell County to do the best we can. And that's my comment to yours. Thank you.
I've had some comments about public health, the way that it's run compared to the rest of the county, from taxpayers, from county workers, whatever. Why does public health open 8 to 4? Everybody else is 8 to 4:30 or 7 to 3:30. They don't get a paid lunch break like public health does. That's been a concern, it's been a complaint. Can you address that? I don't know. I mean, that's just one of the things that.
Mike, you were on the board. If that's a concern, why haven't you brought that to the board?
Because I didn't want all the retaliation. I know how.
They are their own board, they can make decisions.
Right, exactly.
Like that,
I know
set
that, but
hours,
is that fair to the rest of the employees?
That hasn't happened just in the last.
I know that,
Yeah,
that, but I don't know when it happened or where. And I told them, everybody that complains to me, I said, it happened before my time. I cannot change that. You know?
The difficult thing is we
So-
can't compare road workers to public health. They're two different entities.
Well, yeah, I know that.
I've heard
Right,
that
but exactly,
complaint.
but it's still.
I've heard that from Rich and heard that from you. We're all here to serve the public.
Mhm.
So it's not that we're all separate groups. We're here to serve the taxpayers' money, whether it's secondary roads or home health care. We're here to serve the sheriff department, we're here to serve the public. So we aren't all separate groups. We're all one group.
The reason our agency runs differently, we have nurses that go into homes, we have aides that go into homes. Individuals request those services or what works best during a time when they're awake and needing those services. We have to work within the guidelines of our people who need the cares and the services given to them. Our nurses are also on call. Every night, there's somebody who's on call who will go out in the middle of the night if they get a call from one of our.
Secondary roads does the same thing. They've had fires and we've gone out in dump trucks to sand the road for the fire department.
I
They're
understand
on
that.
call. Who's not on call more than the sheriff department. We're all
So,
one big group.
so am I to understand what you're saying is you don't like that our hours, our time of opening are different in the 8-hour day, or what is the
The paid
concern?
lunch break, so that's 2.5 hours a week, 130 hours a year, you know, so that's a perk, you know?
So you're saying that nobody in the other agencies gets a paid lunch break?
No.
We don't get a paid lunch break. We work through our lunch break. And our 8 to 4 hours, our building hours, that was like that when we moved into
Yeah,
that
I know,
building.
I don't know.
And we are healthcare, I don't know anybody who is working 8 to 4 at our agency, because I'm there before 8 every day. And I'm usually there after 4 every day. And a lot of the other employees are too, so I don't.
Well, I don't know, it's just been, like I said, I knew it was gonna turn into an argument, that's why I've never said anything before about
We
it.
don't want to argue, it's just
No.
that if there's a problem
Well,
out
that
there, we
is a
need to
concerns
talk
that I've
about it.
heard,
Like
yeah.
if Laura's correct and and they're not getting a paid lunch break,
Well,
then you need to know that so you can say, no, actually, public
Mm-hmm.
health isn't getting a paid lunch break.
Well, by law, you're entitled to a break after so many hours of work, so. You know, so you're getting, they have to give you, you know, by law, you have to have a lunch break, so. I don't know, that's what I said, that's why I've
If
never brought
if
it
they
up, just
stop-
because of this.
If they stop and take a lunch, they don't get paid for it.
Oh.
Okay, but a lot of times our staff works through lunch.
Well, that's just why I didn't bring this up, because I knew it was just gonna cause.
And they don't always
controversy.
get out of there at 4 o'clock. If they have a admit or something at 3, they may be there till 5:30 or 6. It all
Yeah, I
depends.
know. Yeah, and that's why I didn't bring this up, because I knew it was just gonna be. And that's why I try to push
But you
people
need to
off.
bring it
But you need to
Okay, I
understand
just brought it
you need to understand how it is.
Okay, well,
Yeah. It's
it's
not,
the public, not, I mean, I'm not,
Mhm.
I get
yep,
complaints, I
yep.
pass it
And
on.
so now we've tried to answer that question for you, and I hope you
So I
feel
hope
more
they're
informed to share that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I told them that all happened, it all happened before I was on,
Mhm.
so and I cannot change it, I told them.
Right.
But they think that can change it, because
Mhm.
fair is fair, so, I don't know, that's.
Okay.
And I
I
didn't
do
bring
have
that.
a statement, and I don't even know if it's gonna do any good anyway, but, I do, as the administrator of Mitchell County Home Health and Public Health, I wanted to make a statement of support. Brenda Miller has been serving on the board since 2014 and Sandy Offen since 2016. Since I've been in this position at the agency, I've seen amazing dedication to this agency and community from the two of these women. During the COVID pandemic, having a dedicated and supportive Board of Health was crucial in getting through it. Both Brenda and Sandy put in hundreds of volunteer hours through a couple of years during the pandemic. Brenda spent many hours in our office answering the telephone when we didn't have enough staff to answer all the calls when our Test Iowa site was open and scheduling people for the vaccine. The phones were ringing off the hook nonstop for months during this time, and if it wasn't for that help, we wouldn't have been able to do what we did for the community. Brenda also helped at our COVID vaccine site for several hours. Sandy often didn't miss a COVID vaccine clinic. She was either doing registration, sanitizing, providing food for our staff and our volunteers, helping elderly and disabled patients in and out of the building, and giving education to the patients while they waited their 15 minutes after they received the vaccine. Sandy had the most volunteer hours out of any of our volunteers. That was hundreds and hundreds of hours. Both of these ladies worked side by side myself, as well as several other of my employees. They saw firsthand what we do here at Mitchell County Public Health and understand the importance of what we do. If it wasn't for all of this dedication time for them, from the two of them, we would have had to hire temporary employees at the cost of the county taxpayers. Brenda and Sandy are exactly the kind of people who the county would want to sit on this board. They have proven themselves the dedication, the support, and the knowledge of continuing to be on the Mitchell County Board of Health.
Thank you.
My name is Shirley Penny. I'm a physician assistant who previously worked at the St. Ansgar Clinic. I've been very active with the Board of Health this past few years through the pandemic. And I will say I've been very impressed with both of their commitment, the time that they put in towards helping and being the kind of people that we want on the board. I can't say enough for what I have seen them do. And I've been very proud to be able to be a volunteer and help with them. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I guess we'll move on to number 8, appoint members.
Did you have any more to add on your health update, Board of Health update?
No, we have a board meeting next Friday, the 16th, right? So I'll come at the meeting after that and I'll give you guys a big update.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item 8, appoint members to NICOG's board.
Okay, I had Rachel put this on, and it probably was a mistake on my part as far as for us to appoint these members, because this might be more of a so noted thing.
Oh, just as so noted? Okay.
Because look at the document, I'll just read it down. I'm on the first part of it, well, that's just one of my board meetings that we agreed to. The next one is the city designates that individual, which is the name that you see there.
Is that the city of Osage?
Yes. NIACOG, the economic development appoints that individual for that part of it. Transportation is me and Keith Horgan. Well, the city of St. Ansgar appoints Horgan to go to do it. The next one down is what Steve used to have, and I put Sydney's name in there, but there again, that might not be something that she wants to do, so that's something that she's gonna have to relay to us personally, if she wants that board or not, but NICOG wanted this in by a certain point, so I put that in there for now. And then the bottom one is, again, economic development, and Jenny's gonna be doing that one, so
Okay.
I guess I feel it's more of a so noted.
Probably, because they're actually appointed probably by them, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess this is just so noted item instead of a.
Does that sound right to you guys?
I would
Just
think
so
so too,
noted?
yeah. Like the boards I go to too, it's 13 over
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, you're right. That's what that's all.
Yeah, so now we're item 9, discussion and action on appointment of candidate for planning and zoning board member.
So you want me to talk, Amanda, or? Yeah. Okay, so, last week, we agreed I'd see, I had an individual in mind, so I spoke with Carla Mitchell. She said that she would, be willing to do this board. She's currently on the assessors, I might have this term wrong, the assessors review board. But I talked with the assessors department, they didn't feel there's any conflict in regards to her being on both boards at all. Carla had questions of her responsibilities, so I had Amanda contact her and the two talked, and Carla's good with doing it.
Okay. So we're looking for a motion in a second to appoint her to the planning and zoning board member. I don't think she's qualified, so
I'll move to make that motion.
John made a motion.
Second.
Mark has seconded. Any further discussion on this?
I gotta make a comment. I can't vote on this. She's a relation.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm staying.
Okay. Any other discussion on this?
Roll call, Mark.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Steve.
Abstain.
Jim.
Aye.
Todd.
Aye.
Okay. So item 10, we're gonna just table that for a week.
Can I make a motion to do that?
Do we need a motion and a second to table?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Jim and Steve, first and second. Any other discussion on this?
Roll call, Todd.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Steve.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Mark.
Aye.
Okay. Item 11, items of note, meetings attended.
It was a county social services meeting. There were 2 other supervisors there too, but it wasn't a conflict because we were just there to listen. I don't know how much you guys want to talk about some of the stuff, or,
Go ahead.
I
mean, that was the.
Mobile Mama was there,
Mama, yeah.
and Mobile Mama is there to help kids and adults with cell phone problems, technology. There's a big problem with that. There's online bullying, there's sex trafficking, harassment, and their goal is to educate the public so that those problems can be minimized. They do student educational workshops, they talk with administration and staff workshops at school, and then they'll do one-on-one with students. So that's their mission, is to help with things. And then there was Jess Clayton also talked. She's a nurse. She's on a sexual assault response team. And a lot of her discussion was very sobering. What happens is if an individual is admitted or has a provider appointment and there's suspicion of assault or sex trafficking with that individual, then there's an assessment screening done. They do a discussion. As far as sex trafficking, they will plant. I don't want to get too graphic, but I also want this information to go out because this is a bad deal. They will plant tracking devices on these individuals and in locations that are very difficult for the individual, almost impossible to remove. Jess said that at one point there was an individual that had, I think she said 33 tracking devices on them, on this person.
Chip
So
once?
33 of them.
They're not at once.
Yes.
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 Chips implanted in the
Yes.
body to.
It's a bad deal. And so what happens is if these people are screened and they find that there's a problem, then they get referred to either provider, DHS, or law enforcement, so that they can remain safe. And what Mobile Mama also shared was that the sex trafficking thing, when they get done using you, and it's not us, it's it's kids, well, mostly kids. When they get done using you, they will put you in a comatose, dead state and harvest your organs so that they get every single thing out of you. That's disgusting, and I'm ashamed to be part of the human race that would do something like that.
They said they get
That's
$10,000 for a kidney in China for
That's disgusting.
the black market.
200,000, wasn't it?
Or was it 200,000, that what it was?
That was for lungs from a young female. So, don't like to talk about disgusting things that human beings can do, but sometimes it has to be known, so that's all I
That was
had.
interesting.
That's it then, Jim?
Yeah.
Meetings. Okay, I had, Upper Wapsie Watershed Management meeting. It was in Fontana Park Nature Center at Ableton, Iowa. It's called to order by John Kurtz, the chair, had 18 members present. That's also via the internet too. Discussed upcoming grants and projects. That was the watershed coordinators, Ross and Tori. And discussed the Independence got a grant for the city park and to redo a boat ramp and a dock. The city of Fredericksburg are submitting a water quality plan for wetlands and looking for projects in counties that have not received grant monies before. Next discussed was the water sampling for the 2022 season, and that is complete. All samples have been cleared. Data will be talked about in the future for all counties involved. And next was the fiscal year 2024 funding request for counties. And counties will receive their funding requests in December, and Rachel will be giving you them because I had her copy them. So all four of you will get, and Sydney will get one, and then Rachel will have one. So you'll be able to budget for that. And then we got a Fontana Park project update from Dan Cohen. That was the end of my meeting anyways. It was easy driving over there last Tuesday, but on the way back, once I hit 63, the roads were terrible. So I took gravels all the way back from Waverly. It's kind of hard to find Osage from gravels from Waverly back.
Especially with your flip phone, huh?
Yeah, anyways, that's my meeting.
Okay, thank you. I just had the same meeting Jim had, I went to. So,
I had the same one with Mobile Mom, and I thought maybe we could give them a donation, you know, because they work off of donations, and if it's a well worth cause, maybe in budgeting time we can put a little in for that. That was that one. Had a county social service one. 2 years ago, we went to 12, they redid the districts, and they got to use up the money that the county gives. And with all the money they used for the budgets and stuff, they had to get 2 million back to the state for the county social service. And they didn't cut any programs, so I guess maybe the state knows what they're doing by redoing that. And then Heartland Insurance meeting, they voted to go away from that Arthur Gallagher for insurance and pick up another company to cover us till July, and then they're gonna, well, they'll be the company after that, but they're doing it for nothing till July. Because we dropped that Gallagher because we got that 40,000 back because that guy never come to our visits. And then we got the Mitchell County Vehicle Safety Recognition Award for safe drivers for all the county employees. We put it back to the back of the rest of the plaques. So everybody's safe driving.
Mark, you made a comment that Mobile Mama works on donations now. We used to give her
She's a new company, isn't she?
There was something in, I sit where Barb used to sit, and there was something in her desk.
where we gave a specific amount for a year, so now it's just donations on.
That's how they work off of this donations.
But I mean, yeah, we haven't.
She had
we
a
haven't
specific
recently done
request
it.
that she asked for it. We don't do that no more, huh?
I don't know.
You know, she's not on the current list.
So they give out quite a bit of information and brochures and
Yeah,
stuff.
she's usually got some stories too that kind of like Jim's.
Was that opioid money? Could any of that go towards that? I don't know. I'm just asking.
I'll look at Aaron. We got that check for 20,000 yesterday. I don't
See
know if you
that.
saw my email.
Yes.
Wasn't that for the whole 5 years?
I believe it is.
So we have, I don't know, I haven't read into all the details, if we receive it from multiple organizations, because we received 2 checks prior to that year one, or like the first payment, second payment. I thought that was supposed to be like 16 payments. Then this one
Yeah, but
came and it
didn't
says
we-
year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, and year 5.
There was a
Wasn't it?
note, NOAT thing that came out, and I was wondering if that was a particular company that went bankrupt and they decided rather than to participate in I thought it was a 19-year thing, but rather than participate in the 19-year plan, they were just gonna pay it out. I don't know, but I don't know why that 20,000 came either.
Oh, I know.
For
She's
sure.
sure.
I was a little puzzled by it because I didn't expect it to be that amount, right?
Yeah,
Wasn't it like 4 or 5,000 a year or something like
Yes,
that?
and I thought maybe,
but I do
I thought maybe
believe,
Rachel knew something I didn't, so I didn't say much about it.
I
So-
do,
I just put it in the fund that we don't touch anyways.
I do believe it, and it was kind of put in one lump.
It must have been.
Yeah,
I mean, I can try and find some more information because I thought myself, well, I don't know what this is for, but maybe I shouldn't because, sometimes you start asking questions and then you're like, yeah, that didn't help anything.
And
So-
some of that is so difficult. I mean, we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars that's being divided up, and
Yeah.
it's more than I can actually understand when I read it.
There's absolutely, this is like, well, it is. It's just a structural, it's like your classic class action suit, right?
Yeah.
Where, I don't want to throw out any company, but you get, well, it'd be the asbestos suits, the tobacco suits, or whatever. By the time you get through that process, it is so complicated. There's really no practical way to know whether somebody's calculating the numbers right, unless you go hire your own CPA firm to do it, right? I mean, I've looked at that stuff, and if somebody were to say, Murphy, do you think those numbers would right? I would say, how the hell am I supposed to know?
Yeah.
And so you're, like Jim said, I think you're kind of assuming that they did it right, and you're also assuming if you have other counties, you try and kind of stay on, at least I do, I kind of try to see if other counties are raising issues, because if they are, I usually know about it. If they're relatively silent, then you kind of think, well, we must be trucking along okay. Otherwise, you hear them start raising issues, and then that kind of keeps me on, well, maybe I ought to ask some questions.
And I brought that up because of the 20,000, because I didn't want the public to think that, well, they got $20,000 and they don't even know why they got it or what they're doing. Well, no, it's because it's
That's right.
immensely complicated.
Yes, it is.
Exactly.
But didn't those first 5 years add up to 20,000?
Yeah. Well, I didn't add them, but I think that roughly added them and they look like
Right
they
at 20.
But didn't we already get
I
payments for
actually
2
thought
years?
I read in that
We already
document
got 2
that you
payments, right?
could,
Or that's check number 3, correct? Or not? So
that
we
you
were-
could request
this should be.
that amount, like each
No,
county
they went
was
for
getting
16
like
years or something.
4,000 or 5,000 and then over 5 years. But you had to request that, but you never did anything like that. Yeah, I'm sure I read in there somewhere that, they said you could request it in a lump sum.
Yes,
Oh,
at
yeah.
a reduced rate.
But you had to, apply for that or
Yeah, I
something
think
like
there's
that.
just different process.
Yeah.
That was the expectation.
Yeah, that's what I
If you got it as a lump sum, then you would reinvest it and you would actually, some people felt that their need was more important than having $5,000 a year. They needed the whole amount, a big amount, so that they could conquer their problem right away. So they would allow you to do it in a lump sum with the expectation that you would invest it and make money off it yourself to do it. We didn't do that.
No.
No.
Or they get the money before they go broke.
Well, that's, I guess, a way to think of it too, yes.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I thought this was about,
Okay.
Get that.
Okay.
All right.
And God still has to go meet.
Oh, yeah, I had a FMC, DCAT. If you remember, I've been telling you, we've been down members and stuff. This is a good meeting. We added a community liaison, so that put us only down one. And later in the meeting, a gal hopped on and she said that she had hired a new coordinator. So we are up. So now we're full, the number of members, and we reviewed the FY '23 contracts, financial spreadsheets, and all's good.
Melissa Clef isn't your coordinator anymore? Really?
She left quite a while ago.
Oh, I didn't know
But
that.
she took a different job. I mean, it was,
Okay.
that was it.
Item B, manure management plan updates.
I have Gaskell Finisher Farm, 5029 Ocean Avenue, Stacyville. Iowa Select, Lavasi Tip 16 Finisher, 2634 430th Street, Little Cedar. And Old Gestation Site, 3538 Timber Avenue, Osage.
Okay, thank you. Item C, public comments. Anyone here?
I have one.
Okay.
It was interesting to sit in on this meeting today. I think people should understand more why there are needs for autonomous boards and autonomous operations within government. And we should respect that and use the knowledge of the people that we have to control these boards and not let it become a power struggle.
Okay. Are there any other public comments? Hearing none, I guess we need a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting.
Stupid question, yeah. I think you're gonna have, it's on the agenda 10 a.m., but is
Just that
that
it's
just?
noted, so you guys are done, so the camp board
Very
is
good.
coming.
Very good.
Okay, so we're not adjourning.
No,
we're not
no,
adjourning.
you are adjourning, it's not videoed, it's not.
Oh, okay, so okay. All right, motion to adjourn.
Okay, he's made a motion.
Second.
Give a second. Okay, all in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.